Hi, my name is Nathan Ogloff. I'm a local author based in New Westminster, British Columbia, and I am the author of the Sapien Empire series of books.
Where does it start, this authorship journey?
If you write, you're a writer. It just starts with that, and it just starts with, it really just starts with you having an idea and committing to pursuing it. That's the little spark in the chain reaction that really just sets you down this path. I worked in construction for almost full-time 8 years and off and on for the last 3 years. I think of this as, it's kind of like a construction project. So I mean, a short story is like just a basement renovation, and then like a book is like a high-rise, and then there's what I'm doing, which is like one of these billion-dollar 14 square block complete redevelopment 22 tower 10-year plan projects. Ever since I saw Star Wars when I was like really young, I said I want to do that. I want to make some awesome, rich, intricate, large world that people are just gonna like get absorbed into and blown away with, and maybe even inspire them to, pass the torch, so to speak. And then around 2013, I had this idea for a novel. I'd had it floating around in my head for a while, but I committed to it in 2013, and I said, okay, I'm gonna do this. I didn't actually finish it until 9 years later, and then I spent a year trying to find a literary agent, and I'm now here, doing self-publishing.
Sapien Empire. Where does that come from? Why did you decide to take that route?
I kind of always like these historical films where like some underdog rises up and expands out and creates this empire. And I was thinking about past empires in human history. So the Roman Empire was a empire of gold. You also have the Aztec Empire, which is an empire of blood. However, because my story and my series is a bit of a morality play, I decided I just want it to be an empire of people, just of common people, of all of us, right?
What were the challenges and roadblocks, or just the journey of taking that from page one to completed book over 9 years?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned challenges, because I don't think in terms of hard, easy, or challenging. I just think in terms of what do I have to do to get to where I want to be. Challenges are, there's a lot of disappointments, quote unquote, that you come across. I mean, most people think you just write a book, you send it off to a publisher, and that's it. So first challenge was somebody said you're gonna have a platform. That usually means social media and a website. And then the next hurdle is people say, well, the publisher's only gonna do so much for you. You're gonna have to do a bit of marketing yourself. And then the third final one that I'm currently in is just the market nowadays. Because it's so easy to become an author, it's a little bit flooded. It's almost kind of pushing into that self-publishing direction, which again, if you're feeling a little hesitant and you don't think you can do it very well, it might be a roadblock, a barrier. So I think by the time you get out of it, I call it the gauntlet. If you really want this, you will survive the gauntlet. I don't want to be an 85-year-old man looking back at his life saying, fuck, I really wish I had just tried that one thing. I really wish I just pursued it a little longer. What would have happened if I had just kept at it instead of just giving up? I don't want to have that regret, and so here I am still doing it.
Tell me about what kind of world this is set in.
So it's a post-apocalyptic world. It's set after a collapse, but it's really at a point where the Earth is sort of rebounding from all the damage we've done to it, right now.
When I was reading, I noticed you name-dropped the Salish Sea that is now known as the Domain.
When I said civilization's coming back and they're gonna rebuild, I said, well, why don't I just have it start here, because it's where I live. I know the area very well. It's really just Pacific Northwest. So I mean, it's areas of obviously here, but I do go into the Puget Sound, Seattle, and I go as far south. Columbia is the most furthest south. It's at the head of the Columbia River, and that's where I really start in the beginning, and then it just blossoms from there.
And why did you take inspiration from where you live?
It's just I know it better. So for example, I know that there's a canyon if you go along the Fraser River. That's a very good bottleneck point and point of defense against the people from the interior that I introduced, called the Rust Raisers. Mount Baker also, it does play a very pivotal role that I won't spoil, that comes in later in the book. But again, it was just easier to take an area that I know.
Well, is there anything else you want to add? Something maybe I didn't mention that you think is important about the process?
Here's a good piece of advice that I really wish I knew at the very beginning. This industry is subjective. If everybody's ranting and raving about some book and they're saying it's so good and you read it and you're like, I don't get it. This doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't mean you're incompetent or you don't know what fine art is, you don't know what a real story is, and that you're not capable of telling a good story. It's probably most likely just not for you. It's also, when taking advice, take advice from literary agents, editors, publishers, and authors. If your friends aren't any of those and they say something that kind of sounds a little negative or sounds a little off, they might mean well, but take it with a grain of salt.
Where's it going? What's next?
Next is I just continue the series. I've actually written half of the first draft of the second novel already. In terms of my career in general, I do have plans and a vague idea of what the series after this one's going to entail, and then the series after that one.
And where can people find your book?
When it's published, you can find it on Amazon, and you can order it for print, hardcover, and ebook. It'll be coming out February 6th next year, and it'll be available for pre-order November 7th.